What's up, Tampa? It is Friday, December 12th.
And that means it's time for another episode of Tampa Talk, your weekly wrap-up of the headlines, history, happenings, and hope we're building in our city. I'm Dahlia.
And I'm John. And if this is your first time tuning in, or if you're a regular listener, welcome. Let's just jump into what we're talking about this week. First up, we want to highlight some in-house kind of stuff. So shout out to everyone that will be joining us actually this morning at the Well-Fed Kitchen ribbon cutting at the TGH Health Park. That event's going to take place from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. That'll kind of be the last big event we have too for the end of the year. Which is a nice way to kind of wrap up all that we've accomplished this year, which we celebrated a little bit last night at the WellBuilt.city's ecosystem gathering. It was so cool just to see, one, the full circle of being in the drop space.
Yeah.
And then two, the number of people that are part of the ecosystem. I mean, we had 40-something people in the room.
And there was a handful of people missing too. Yeah. And it was cool. It's always cool. We do this annually. It's kind of like our core teams from all of the different things going on. And like, it really is, you know, like in a city, like you've got people working in different pockets. And when we gather everyone together, it's like, it's interesting. There's people that I only see that time in the year or really see.
Yeah.
And then people don't know one another. Like, oh, we onboarded this year, but we're in the garden, or we're in this place in Well-Fed, or we're in the bike shop, and just getting all of these different kind of players together to kind of realize like there's a bigger game being played with these shared values across the different enterprises. And man, it's always a rich night. I'm super grateful we do that.
No, it's super powerful. And it even is always shocking to me when, 5 years I've been with the Well and there's still people in the room I don't know. And they're not usually people from 5 that have been around for 5 years, but still, like, there was faces that I was seeing for the first time. And it just goes to show you how this is maybe braggadocious, but good we are at decentralizing the work. Like, there are a lot of people who take a lot of ownership for the day-to-day of everything that we do. And that's really cool to see.
You know, it's funny. Constantly people are asking me like, well, what's the plan with this? Or what are you doing with that? And I'm like, that's like not like I'm barely, like I know they're, even with the food truck, I'm like, I've heard some plans. I've heard some things that are going on. I'm connected to people that are doing it, but like, and then there's other things that just, it's exactly right. Like that value of decentralization, that thing kind of, the decision-making being pushed into the people like in the actual place of local decision-making. It's just, it is cool to see. And like, there is a broad ownership across our ecosystem. Super proud of
cool.
what we've been able to build or be part of. I mean, I always can't even say we've built it, but it's just, it's cool to be part of this thing that's emerging.
Totally, it is. 2025 was a great year. Well, getting into some Tampa history, we're going to rewind the clock to December 12th, 1929, when a mysterious fire swept through Drews Field's hangar and destroyed every plane inside. Now, Drews Field was the original airport before Tampa International Airport existed, and kind of did some digging into this. So just for a little bit of context, this was actually not a very well functioning airport. So I guess because they built it on just a farmer's field, a guy named with the last name Drew, it was very muddy as Florida gets. And so planes would try to land and basically like nosedive into mud and get not so happy about that. And so then the next time they would fly it, and so they would have people landing like they would end up doing a lot of like water landings for any planes that came in and hybrid, and then redirect people to Peter O. Knight. So it wasn't until around 1920 when Drews Field is becoming more established, and they're starting to be able to like actually take planes in, and then TPA doesn't really come online until after World War II. So for a long time, this operated a little bit more bare bones. But on this day, December 12th, 1929, 13 airplanes went up in a blaze. So investigators suspected arson after finding gasoline all over the planes. But the case was never solved, and the damage would have cost nearly $2 million in today's dollars.
Okay. Yeah, I guess there was no insurance, no night watchman, no water access since it was outside of city limits, so it was a total loss. Drew Field would later become a site of what we would know today as Tampa International Airport. So it is the exact same location.
It is, yeah. And it's actually the exact location of Drew Field, like that landing strip is now our private airport at TPA. So it's where all like the charter planes leave from and things like that. So, Kind of cool history to dig in a little bit more to what TPA is like. And also the like terminal that we know didn't exist until 1975, which I always found that. So they knocked down like a pre-existing terminal to build what we now know as TPA. So if you look up old photos of TPA, it doesn't look anything like the TPA that we know today.
Interesting.
Yeah, kind of cool stuff.
Well, let's jump into this week in the headlines. And first up, there's some big news out of ZooTampa.
So if you've been anywhere near the primate area, you might have seen the brand new baby Angolan colobus monkey. And it's pretty cute. We shared a photo if you want to check out wordonthestreets.xyz.
So it was born last Saturday, and this is the first of its kind born at the zoo since 2018. And right now it's solid white. Its fur is solid white, totally different from the black and white adult monkeys.
It's kind of cute. The baby fur is temporary, though, and over the next few months, it will start to match the rest of its troop. No name or gender has been announced yet, but if you go, just look for the little one clinging to its mom. Also, on a side note, I've recently got on my feed baby kangaroos, and it's kind of crazy. They're born in the pouch, and you can basically open the pouch.
Are they born in the pouch?
They're born in the pouch, and they're like a fetus. So at any given point, you can just open the pouch and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's just crazy to me to think you can literally get eyes on, and they even pull the baby out, but while it's still attached to the umbilical cord.
Is that marsupial? Is that what that's called? Yeah.
But even they'll pull the baby out while it's not born yet. It's attached to an umbilical cord to check on it and then shove it back in. Anyways, baby kangaroo videos have been on my feed, and it's kind of cool.
All right, let's switch gears. Some school board drama brewing in Hillsborough.
Yeah, so this one's really about the school board is pushing back against state policies that allow charter schools to co-locate inside public schools, and so the issue right now is that it's moving into high-performing ones as well.
Yeah, so originally the Schools of Hope program was supposed to be for struggling schools only, but the state changed the rules. So now if a school has space, even if it's doing well, a charter can ask to move in.
Yeah, and so what just passed is basically they need to do investigation into what determines what schools are allowed and not, and also creating some rules and guidelines around co-locating only schools with the same grade level, so you can't have a charter necessarily that does K through 8 in a K through 5. So they're trying to work out some of the kinks about that originally proposed approval to just say any school, any charter. Mm-hmm. And then also getting charters to pay for some of the services that the school board is carrying. So janitorial services, maintenance, land. I guess there's in some instances the charter schools haven't been contributing to those costs like a true tenant would. Mm-hmm. So that's some of the stuff that they're working on at the state level. And then in Hillsborough,
no, this is the same story.
Sorry, I guess I just had the information top of mind. But basically, 2 charter operators are trying to co-locate into 22 district schools. So that's a lot of shared campuses.
Yeah, I think she shared about the rest of this, but the vote did pass 5-1. And, this will definitely be something we kind of pay attention to moving forward. We're going to get into some downtown. This is for the downtown developers. So listen up. The city of Tampa is selling the police headquarters.
Yep. So the TPD headquarters on North Franklin is officially up for grabs. The city's asking a minimum of $36 million, and it's a full block bordered by Madison, Franklin, Florida, and Kennedy.
So they're looking for a bold redevelopment proposals. Whoever buys it has to cover everything: demolition, rezoning, environmental review, design, construction, the whole 9.
And proposals are due February 6th, 2026. So it could be a major catalyst for downtown. I mean, it's a big chunk of our city.
Other redevelopment stuff. This is in East Tampa, where things are getting a little complicated over a proposed $50 million redevelopment plan.
So the Deeper Life Christian Church, is that the big brick red one?
Yeah, Deeper Life Church. Mm-hmm. Huh.
Yep. Which owns dozens of vacant and rundown properties on Nebraska, is partnering with a first-time developer on a big plan to add housing, shops, clinics, and more.
So what's the issue? Well, the church is... So I used to live right there, and I have a long...
You know a lot about this church.
I know a lot about Deeper Life. Yeah. I've had a lot of overlap. They do own a ton of property in that neighborhood. And that church has now been, they're not utilizing anymore. They're looking to do redevelopment. It's kind of like a lot of their buildings have kind of run down over the years. But not just the buildings are messy. So the church's history has been messy. You could think like scandals, code violations, even criminal past. I mean, there used to be buses that would leave from there to like the continuous, so 48 states, with people in them to go panhandle, and they would take them out to everywhere around the country. Crazy. And say like for women and children or something like that. There were many like densely populated rooming houses throughout the neighborhoods. There were charges brought against some of the family members that kind of run the church. There's just been a lot. I mean, if you look up the Jeffersons and you look up Deeper Life, like there's a lot of history. Now they have a lot of neighborhood history. It's not all negative history, but it is a messy history. And so there's been a lot of that. And so that's why there are kind of like maybe question marks. And
so neighbors are actually divided on this. Some folks say like, great, someone's trying to invest in the corridor without gentrifying it. And others say, are we really going to give, public money to people who've maybe neglected properties over the years?
Yeah, so, worth noting, the Jefferson family that runs Deeper Life, they own over $8 million in real estate right in that area. But since 2019, their properties have racked up like 94 code violation cases, and some of the buildings that they've been ordered to demolish are still standing.
And so the developer, Kella McCaskill, says the goal is to empower Black property owners to lead the transformation without being pushed out, unlike maybe what we've seen in Ybor and Tampa Heights as they've kind of been developed as well.
Yeah, so she's asking for CRA funds from the city, but those are only reimbursed after the construction's complete. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be an uphill battle to get things started. I do want to say, so I actually went to the Nebraska Avenue Business Association, the first meeting they just had. Kella was there talking about this project. They're actually I lived right on Lake in Nebraska, and there's this big building that these guys also own that they're also looking to redevelop. They have plans. It used to be called House of David, but it's been empty. I mean, it was empty, and there was a bunch of homeless people living in it, like squatting in it in at least 2008. I remember being over there. So like it's been like, I can't even believe the building can even be utilized, but apparently it's in decent shape. They're going to do a lot of stuff with it. But like that family, like I said, owns a bunch of property. So like a lot of people do know, I think it's a good example of like Black property owners and leading transformation. Mr. B's, which is actually where the meeting was, is an incredible kind of soul food like restaurant. They opened when I used to live over there. I thought these people are crazy opening this here. It's crushed. It's done really well. It's where a lot of great meetings are happening. They're doing incredible food. They've been on multiple TV shows now, and that actually is the same family. That's the Mr. B's was launched, like the woman that runs that is a Jefferson family member. She has a different last name because of marriage, but like it's the same family, and it is an example of the kind of thing that they would hold up and say, this is what we're trying to see happen here. So anyways, a lot to pay attention to. Obviously, they are asking for CRA funds, but it will be an uphill battle.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. It will definitely, if it moves forward, reshape a huge swath of what East Tampa looks like.
Yep.
So holiday events going on, some new ones that we haven't quite mentioned just yet. The 25th annual Hillsborough River Holiday Boat Parade is taking place from Lowry Park to Sulphur Springs on Saturday, December 13th from 6 to 7:30. This is a free event, so you could come bring a blanket, watch from the riverbanks, and then there's a community party at Sulphur Springs Park afterwards. Then we have the Jingle Bell Bazaar in Ybor taking place at Centennial Park, so where the farmers market usually is, on Sunday, December 14th from 12 to 6. Free live music, food trucks, Santa's Village, and a ton of local vendors. So that should be some good family fun. And then ones that we've talked about in previous episodes that if you just want to double click on is Christmas at Dinosaur World, Christmas in the Wild at ZooTampa, the Winter Village at Curtis Hickston is in full swing, and Santa's Carnival Festival of Lights is taking place at Hillsborough County Fairgrounds. So yeah,
tons of like the Christmas time events and a lot of ones you guys come to remember from years past. Also, like every week, we will be out at Harvest Hope this morning with the Kinship Mobile Free Market sharing groceries. We'll also have a crew at the Ybor Street Community Garden, just like always, so you can come on by and check us out. But that is a wrap for this week's Tampa Talk. You can find event links, episode notes, kind of links to everything. You can get a link directly to the show, tampatalk.xyz. And also, if you want this in your inbox every Friday morning, you can subscribe at wordonthestreets.xyz.
So yeah, like, comment, and share if you're enjoying the show, and drop us a message if you got events or stories that you want us to cover.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. And as always,
be good.
Y'all be good.